again, weak Starmer. I was half expecting a U-turn when I first saw the joint statement. But once again, it seems like what the Prime Minister's had to do is get his talking points from the European Union. That's what it feels like to me. Actually, Kazra, but before I bring you in, I'm just going to see. I want to show the audience. President Trump has just posted this on Truth Social.
The United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries. Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now, again, the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do. But it's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. And they do battle better than anybody. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons that would allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen. We're not happening to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I rebuilt our military in my first term. There's never been a military like we possess. And frankly, there's nobody even close, but we are now using that military for good. We want to have it for good purpose. We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America," or "Death to Israel," or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, and police to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help. Thank you. God bless you to our incredible warriors, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
Well, there you have it. That was the President of the United States, Donald Trump, giving an update on the situation in Iran. What a contrast to the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, eh? For a reaction to this, let's cross live to New York to national security expert and US Army veteran Asher Castleberry. Asher, thank you so much for joining me this evening. Very strong rhetoric from the President of the United States there. What do you make of it?
Well, he has definitely presented a layout of what is the current dynamics as far as momentum in the battlefield, from destroying Iranian naval bases as well as key developments going on in Iran, and building out its defensive posture as a result of the missiles and drone attacks that are happening throughout the Gulf. And we have just recently lost 3 service members and 5 wounded. So that's significant to note. But I think that the problem that we're coming across, and that may be conflicting with some of the lawmakers in Washington, D.C., as well as possibly your leadership, is just the synchronization about the operational approach in the battlefield. What are we doing before we make that move? And I think that is what everybody wants. They want a consensus. It's not necessarily we're against the fact that Iran is a threat, or against the fact that Iran does not necessarily need to be addressed. It's the approach is what's the question here. Did maximal diplomacy happen, and was it able to achieve the significant objectives? Did we seek some sort of multilateral approach here, like you saw what Bush did when he seeked out to United Nations and also spoke with lawmakers on how he was going to approach Iraq? So I think that's the significant point here.
And Asher, your reaction to, I don't know if you've seen, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom has announced that the UK will support the United States and Israel, but by the sounds of it, in defensive capacity, but will not use any offensive capacity to tackle the crisis happening in the Middle East. What do you think of that?
I think that the prerequisite before that decision making is that there probably needs to be a thorough discussion between United States, Israel, and the United Kingdom as far as how United Kingdom can participate in an offensive approach. That might be what's lacking. That's why the Prime Minister pretty much said, I'm going to just move forward a defensive posture, especially for the fact that I have my own people that are out there in the region. So I think there just needs to be more of a thorough discussion between all 3 parties.
Indeed. Asher Castleberry, thank you so much for joining me this evening. That is security expert and US Army veteran. Let's go back to my panel here for some more reaction. What a contrast, Anna. I mean, you've seen the President of the United States be decisive. He is strong. You feel confidence from him. America will avenge the deaths of its fallen troops. Very limited casualties, of course, after what is a very big military operation, but still sad nonetheless. He sounds like a leader, and then you have the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom going on, well, we might offer some defensive capacity, but we're not going to be offensive because that's going to be bad. We've learnt from Iraq. Iraq's nothing like Iran. It's nothing like Iran.
Completely right. The word is leadership, and that's what we've seen from Donald Trump. And one was sad to say, I'm really sad to say, that what we're seeing from our own UK Prime Minister is spineless, and it's the words of a robot. And I think that your other panellist summed it up perfectly. He is a civil servant. He idolises the law. He is ultimately a lawyer. He is not a leader. And the reason this is so appalling is that the UK is one of only 5 members, only 5 permanent members of the United Nations Security Council. Why? Because we used to be leaders. People used to look to us for a lead. That's why we're one of only 12 founding members of NATO. We're members of the Five Eyes. We're members of the G7. And you see that and you think, why?
Yeah.
Why
Indeed.
are we still members? Because we are not acting like a leader. And I actually genuinely think that Keir Starmer does not like to express an opinion. I think he much prefers the lawyer thing. Well, on this hand, on the one hand this, on the one hand that. He doesn't like to come down on one side. That's why he can't do it.
Just for those of you watching at home, these are live pictures of a road blocked off in Jerusalem following what seems to be a missile landing there. And for those of you on radio, it seems like a lot of police cars are blocking off a significant chunk of the roads there in Jerusalem. Kazra, I will come over to you next. Sure. What's your reaction seeing those two leaders side by side?
President Trump is dismantling Khamenei's infrastructure in Iran, yet Khamenei's infrastructure in the UK still remains open. Just today, the Islamic Centre of England, which operates as Ayatollah Khamenei's official office, a supreme leader's official office in the United Kingdom, held a vigil for Khamenei. Khamenei has British blood on his hands. This place is still open. We have proved consistently that it's carried out IRGC-linked propaganda activity, Islamist radicalisation, propagating anti-Semitism. There's a Charity Commission investigation that's been going on for 2 years. Its doors are still open. No one wants to take action. Keir Starmer is nowhere to be seen. He's not even protecting British national interests and British security here, let alone abroad. Complete embarrassment. Does he want to be a third-rate lawyer or a leader? He's certainly not a leader.
Adam.
The whole world agrees that the removal of the IRGC is what has to happen for world safety, for the security of our nation. Even the majority of Muslim countries want to see the IRGC gone. So there's no sort of Muslim hate here. That is an agreed stance. For me, it looks like Keir Starmer is more worried about the 6 million Muslim votes in this country than the security and the safety of its citizens. And today, I think that's the last straw for this man. Robotic, cowardly, spineless, and he's got to go.
Yeah, indeed.
He has to go.
Nigel, what do you make of all of this? You've seen President Trump. He looks very, very strong. He's come out looking like a leader. And in whatever way you want to spin it, when you put the two leaders side by side, me, as a citizen, I know which man I would look to in a time of war to defend me, and it wouldn't be Keir Starmer.
Well, I mean, what Keir Starmer said was that he would give permission now for our bases to be used. 2 days ago, it would have been illegal to do so.
Nonsense.
Now, well, it would. I'm sorry, it would.
Absolute nonsense.
Is he a lawyer or a leader?
Exactly.
No, I've got to say, why does everyone want to ignore international law?
He needs to advance, as Prime Minister, British national security in the interests of Britain.
No, I've got to say, why do you want to ignore international law?
For safety and security.
Let's hear from Nigel. Why do you think tell us why you think that?
Because international law is the same in principle as domestic law. You wouldn't be very happy if a burglar burst into your home and said, I can ignore the law because I happen to want what you want.
And when the Ayatollah massacred 40,000 Iranian civilians just a month ago, where was international law there?
Well, I'm not saying that international law works perfectly. What I'm saying is that we're talking about the actions of Britain here rather than what the Ayatollah was doing.
And they're plotting terror on our soil. So his responsibility as a leader is first and foremost foremost to protect British national security and the British people. He's not doing that.
Absolutely right. And the 20 terror operations that we've identified in this country directly from Iran, those terror operations were identified. They were discovered. That was the whole point. That is the point of security.
The whole point of it. But I want to come to Anna before we do that. I'm sure we were talking about the Islamic Centre of England or London. I can't remember which one it was earlier. I'm sure they would refute the claims, of course. They would deny any wrongdoing and so on. But of course, we'll wait for more to come on that. Anna, what do you think?
Well, I completely and utterly disagree with you, Nigel. I'm a lawyer myself, but I don't do it on the basis of my own legal opinion. I do it on the basis of Lord Wolfson's opinion. And he, like Lord Hermer, has looked at the law. He's an expert in the law, and he is extremely clear that Starmer had the right under international law on Saturday to support our ally.
And what was he citing?
Article 51, obviously, of the United Nations Charter, which, as you know, gives a country the right to defend itself, but also gives an ally of that country the right to join with that ally. But
we weren't under specific threat on Saturday. We are now. I appreciate we are now, which is why
we've always been under threat.
2 points. Starmer himself explained on Saturday very clearly how we are actually under threat from Iran. So
imminent
from his own words.
Yeah, imminent threat is what you need as the basis for going to war.
OK.
No,
I have to cut you off, unfortunately. I have to cut you off because we've got to join... we're joined now by Hala Blake, a British Iranian activist, just to get her take on what's going on. Hala, listen... We've seen from the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom now, there was a bit of a conflicting messaging going on. It was the E3, Germany, France and Britain at the start looked like they might be supportive of strikes. Then the Prime Minister's come out in this statement this evening and said, actually, we're going to only operate in a defensive capacity to support the United States. Could we not have done that before this war started?
You're absolutely right. And the position of this government has been so weak and so disappointing as a British and as an Iranian twice for me. But the position has just been spineless. I would call it that as well. And it's not helping the British nationals and our security here. And it's not helping the global safety and security either. So it doesn't actually deliver any of our benefits globally.
Indeed. And what did you make of the President of the United States' response? Personally, I think it came off very strong, but do you think the rhetoric was correct for this moment in time?
I do believe so, yes. Trump has taken a really strong stance, and whether you like him or not, in this position as a British Iranian, he's taking the right action for the region and the global safety. So I do think his messaging has been spot on so far.
Indeed. And what are your hopes for Britain here? Do you think we should be taking a more offensive approach?
We need action from this government. And as activists, we are actually planning campaigns through the week to pressure this government to act, because Manator TV station this week had stopped reporting. This is an independent Persian media in London that stopped reporting because of a terror activity on their building. So this is very much imminent risks to our lives. And even in Canada, last night, there were shootings in one of the activists' gatherings in Canada. So this is very much action required by this government, and we are going to push as we can, but we need actions from the Labour government.
Thank you so much for joining me this evening, British Iranian activist Hala Blake. Thank you very much for your thoughts on this very developing story now.